So you have a contractor business or a service provider business or subcontractors. Now, if you actually want to consistently scale your business and get past the point of doing a lot of the jobs and the work yourself, you need to be smart. Now, not just any kind of smart, but a persistent type of smart. So persistent smartism, what is it? It's understanding different types of business models. If you don't understand business, it's going to be difficult for you to get good at business. So your number one task is to educate yourself on business strategies and how to actually effectively grow your company. In this, I'm going to cover some really basic strategies that if you do the work, you hire the right people, you create the systems and the operations for it, will work. And you'll grow your business, you'll free up time, you'll leverage your finances, you'll be able to leverage your business, and ultimately you can move on, buy other businesses, you can grow other businesses, you can just stay with the one you're at and help more people with the business you have. If you don't develop this business smartism, you're not going to go very far. You might go fast, but you might not get very far. And I've coached many different types of business owners. I've coached many different types of businesses. And the number one thing it comes down to is I can show you a strategy, but are you going to implement? Implementation is the number one determining factor on whether something succeeds or not. And then you have belief. If the company belief is down in the gutter, nothing's going to happen with your business. In fact, it might even revert back to several months before, several years prior. Mindset, energy, belief, that's a foundational piece. Good people in your company, you got to have these. Some cash flow in your business, absolutely a must-have. So as you grow your company, you're going to need to implement proper strategies to help you generate results. And results, the ability to hire people, the ability to grow your company, the ability to generate more cash flow, and that all comes down to sales. Not leads, sales. Leads lead to sales. Sales is your ultimate target, sales. So how do you get more sales in your company? Business Smartism 101, here we go. Strategies. You can get off this call, stop watching the live, try this out for yourself. Come back, let me know how it goes for you, because these strategies really will help your business function at a higher level. They're simple. It's not about complexity, it's about simplicity. Create simplicity in your business and remove headaches. Simplicity or headaches? Well, I think you want to have simplicity in your business rather than headaches. Headaches is when you try to tell something to your team's like, what the heck is this? You have something that only a very high skilled individual can do. You give that task to someone that's, maybe medium level skill, and they're like, I did it. And you look at it and there's paint all over the place, right? That is complexity. Complexity should really only be used by really skilled people. Simplicity is where everyone across the board can use the same system, get the same type of results with varying levels of skills. Whiteboard. First strategy. Again, if you're only focusing on inbound leads, there's going to become a point where you hit a cap in your financial abundance in your business. And that cap is what you break through with outbound stuff. Strategies. It all comes down to you taking action, sending the bid out, and making sure the job gets done right. Outbound is where a lot of people mess up. And they don't necessarily mess up, but they invest in the wrong things, they invest in the wrong tools, and they're all over the place with shiny objects in there when they're left. You don't want to be going left, right? You want to be going down the center line of fundamental business strategies. Outbound. What is outbound? Outbound is from business to customer. Outbound sales. To really make this work, you are going to need to have several strategies in your arsenal. Start with 2 or 1, perfect that, move to the next one. So, I think most people have heard this one. We call it prospecting. Prospecting is where you are giving out phone calls to people that may or may not need your service yet. And if you're in the roofing industry, the most basic way to do it is what I'm going to lay out here for you. So you are going to go to Google Satellite Maps. You're going to go pick out roofs. You're going to pick out damaged or maintenance repair roofs. You're gonna focus on distressed properties. And then from there, you're gonna collect a list of people. You're gonna collect lead, collect information. But once you collect information, you're gonna use your phone, and then you're gonna, call people. Right, this is a fundamental strategy. What a lot of people don't touch in here is this box over here, touch points. With this strategy, where a lot of people fail is creating enough touch points to generate a sale. Touch points is how many times do you interact with the customer. This does not work if you don't have enough touch points. In fact, if you're only going to use 2 touch points, I highly recommend not using this strategy. This is not the strategy for you to use if you don't have a high level or high number of touch points, at least 5 to 7 touch points. Because once you call the people, now you're going to take these people and then you're going to lead them to book an inspection of some sort, right? Call, sales/service call. And then here's the end goal. Then you bring in some closed contracts. Pros and cons of the system. There's a lot of cons to the system as much as there are pros. And you need to understand this if you're actually going to use this in your business effectively. So where do you think the hangups are going to be in this prospecting list? Well, you're going to need volume and you're going to need quality. You're also going to need 5 to 7 touch points. So this is kind of the red line of outbound prospecting. So to improve the conversion rates of prospecting, there's a few sections you need to look at. You want to look at crossover between interest and value. Let me put it to you this way. If the customer is not interested, there's nothing that'll make them feel like there's something of value. And so you have to make perceived value go so high up, there's this desire to buy. And so the desire to buy is relative to the perceived value. This also includes desire to take action. And so if your customer is down here on the line, right here, they're not going to do anything. In fact, you're probably wasting your time. But imagine if you have a conversation that gets them to here. This is where you want your customer. This is ideal up here, or even the half percentage. You can even get them to halfway perceived value and desire to buy. It's not necessarily like you won the race, but now you're way closer than you were before. And so this is conversation flow right here. Your conversation flow should be based around these points. Your conversation flow is to bring this up. That's your conversation flow. Here's what will increase your prospecting conversion rates. Background research. Extensively research each prospect. Follow me? You with me here? You're going to need to do research. What is the common ground with this customer? What can I talk to them on the phone? How can I structure it in such a way that they're going to see high value from my proposition? It could even be as simple as looking at their net worth. Where are they at right now? Are they struggling financially? Is the building, did they just recently buy this building? Find out as much information as you can. Now, short answer is yes, that takes more time. Long answer is you can hire a VA or a virtual assistant or someone else to actually do the prospecting front end for you. Or you can go with a software company like Apollo.com or Apollo.io is like an option. But again, satellite roof pictures, if you're doing roofing, you're roofing specific to the industry, then you're gonna want to do that. So find out as much information you can on the prospect, use their first name. You're gonna reflect back to them any information they've provided you. And then you're gonna ask questions to get more information, not to sell, but to get more information and get them talking. A lot of people ask questions just to try and sell someone, but you want to be asking questions you're genuinely interested and you want more information from them. Information is the value, okay? So in today's society, data and information is value. And so perceived value is also related to how much information the customer gives you. Customer gives you more value, customer perceived value of you goes up. So if the customer gives you more information, the customer's perceived value of you goes up. Now, to really make this bang on work, you're gonna need 5 to 7 contact points minimum. This means mailers in there. You're gonna drop by in person. You're gonna connect with them on social media. Obviously, phone call. You can send an email. You can send a friendly text message and invite them to in-person events you host if that's what you do. You can, another touch point is other social media accounts. You can like and follow their business page. You can call them, I think that we're maxing out here, mailing list. If they let's say you can mail them valuable information around roofing, your services, and what they are going through, right? And the trick here is not too often. Now, yes, this is a lot. Your likelihood of getting a sale, and it's not about getting, it's about being of service to them, but your likelihood of them doing business with you is ridiculously high if you follow this process. And so, background research, you're gonna use their first name in the call. You're gonna find out you're just gonna ask some questions. You're gonna reflect that information back to them. You're gonna ask more questions. And most of the time, people like to talk about themselves. So you're building rapport, you're building generosity, you're building this connection. And again, data information is value. So the more information that they're giving you, there's a higher perceived value that goes with you asking those questions. And to top this off, if you educate the customer after data points. So in other words, after they give you the information, perceived value goes up. Now, one thing on this is if you give information before they do, you haven't necessarily lost, but your perceived value is not going to go up. If they like coffee, find out if they like coffee and then bring something to the shop. They're probably working a long ass day. So, and this is assuming that you're talking to the owner. If you're not talking to the owner, butter up all the employees, butter up the whole team. You want to do business with someone, everyone needs to know the electrician. And if everyone knows electrician, there's an electrical problem, they're going to call the electrician. That's like how it rolls. So again, prospecting with the outbound calls, again, touch points. And then this is a key factor. I'm going to add another box here because there is another box to this. The second box is sales. If you don't nail the sale, your onboarding process with your clients, probability of them buying, but if you lose them in the sale, it's kind of like all this work and then no confidence, right? So sales, because if this process is not simplified and streamlined, you're going to lose customers out the yin yang. So here's what I suggest. Materials they can touch, feel, see, or have emotions connected with. You don't necessarily always need to elicit an emotional response from customers, but if they have one, they're more likely to buy. And again, it's not about trying to get something from someone. This is just like the thing. If you feel good, you're more likely to buy. If you feel good, you're more likely to want to do business with someone. This is sales 101, right? But a lot of times this gets missed. And here's the ways that it gets missed. Number one, they don't have visual aids. This is huge because if you're selling to someone and you don't have a visual aid, you lost a decent percentage of your customer base. Number two, only sell by phone or miss the in-person interaction. But if you're a contractor or roofer, pay attention to this one. More in person, higher likelihood of selling. And again, and then number three is making it hard to buy from you, but not making it easy enough to buy. So this is where things can get complicated. You know, they only take checks, they only take cash. There's only a certain way that you can pay them. The way to overcome this is to create 5 to 10 different buying options. Not price points, but buying options. In other words, if they only use PayPal, you got a PayPal. If they only use Venmo, you got a Venmo. If they only use Zelle, you got a Zelle. If they only use check, you have a way to deposit checks. If they only use card, then you got a way to run their card. If they use Stripe, you got Stripe. If they use Google Pay, you can take Google Pay. Okay, Google Pay is kind of like one of those like more outly or functions, but at least 5 to 6 different ways for them to pay. If they can't pay in full, have a financing option. This is the challenge, is if you don't make it easy for your customer to buy, they're less likely to buy, okay? And no one wants to go through a 3-hour sales process. They just want to be able to buy, make a decision and buy, okay? And then keeping it simple, make a decision, buy, or not buy, okay? And then here's another one that just gets skipped often. I see this a lot. Lacking in urgency all the time in the world. No, you do not have all the time in the world. And a lot of a lot of business owners will make it seem like they have all the time in the world. How do you create parameters around urgency? Well, you have a cutoff time for your calls. You have a cutoff time for messages. You have a cutoff time for contracts before they get signed. You have a cutoff time for things so that you create urgency in your business. Also important to note, you never thank anyone for their time. You appreciate connecting with them, but you never say that you thank them for their time, because now their time is more valuable than you. Your time is just as valuable as theirs. So make sure that you're not using time as you're thanking the customer for their time. Make sure that you're valuing your time, because there's a lot of businesses, they don't value their time and they don't create urgency around their products or their sales. And there should be some urgency. And it's not about pushing someone to a sale, it's just creating urgency. Because what happens if they don't act on their roof and 5 years later it's leaking and now they need a re-roof? Well, you're technically saving them money by having them make a decision sooner. So this is the main one that roofers use. This is tried and true. Here's how you can actually make it work for you though. This stuff right here. Another thing is, yes, I actually do help people create scripts. But if you haven't tried it out and you're going to read it off a piece of paper, don't do it. Here's a simple script you can use. Plug and play is just literally small talk. Small talk works. Small talk. You have this in your sales process first. Then you ask questions. You make sure to ask questions, not just related to roofing, but to the person. And then you want to get as much information as possible. Get as much information as possible, as enjoyable for the customer. And so your sales script should be focused around these things. And then there should be a guiding principle of the questions leading to an action of sorts, a framework for the conversation. So your questions should be based around leading someone to a sale, or leading someone to a decision, or at least educating them on your product, what you have, and how it can help them, or how it can save energy, etc. And so this should be really the framework for it. And then obviously, okay, you've asked enough questions. Now you educate the customer, make sure to educate them. And then after that, help them with the next step, the sales process, help them make the best next step. And then from there, you're going to help them close the sale. You're going to help them book an inspection. Okay. This is a simple conversation framework. Again, you figure out what questions make sense for your company. If you actually want help with your sales scripts, like one-on-one, actually creating something, comment below. We can schedule a meeting and talk about where we can take your company. And obviously increase your sales, help everything, grow your business sustainably, hire the right people, all the good stuff. So this is a very simple framework that you can use to generate the sales in your company that you need. And so number one, if you're doing outbound and you're doing prospecting, number one thing you want to be talking and getting into your sales team and your customer service team is touch points. Many touch points as possible. Yes, it's maybe monotonous. Yes, maybe it takes more time, but find a way to where you can reduce the time, increase the touch points, and get in front of more customers. Okay, like touch points, number one. Number two is information. The more information a customer gives you, the more perceived value there is in the conversation itself. And never educate before you get information from the customer first. Never talk their ear off. Don't do that. Always ask questions, get information, and then add value on top of the answers that they've given, and guide that conversation into a booked inspection, for example, or educating your customer on the type of products you have. Just create something that's natural, engaging, and fun to actually have a call on the phone with. Think about this person as like your best friend. Be casual, talk casually, be fun, be engaging, be yourself. Number one. And get your whole team to do this, because if your whole team does this, oh, you're going to be so successful. So that is prospecting. The next training I'm doing is going to be on the second piece, which is social media. Second piece of this training is called social media. I'll be releasing that on Friday. Make sure to catch it. So today with prospecting, Friday we're going over social media. And the third most important business strategy for you to have is, for example, paid advertising, mailers, other lead generation strategies that you can use to implement your business. But if you implement this for prospecting, you will be successful. There's no reason why you can't be successful if you take these tips that I've given you here and some of the major frameworks that I've given you here, and you absolutely implement it. So again, do this right. You got a business already. You literally don't need a website. You don't need, all you need is a phone, some brains, good personality, something to sell, and you can get the ball rolling. And any questions, comment below. We'd love to hear your feedback. If you'd like to schedule a meeting, just comment below. Say flip side. Have a good one. Bye-bye.